Okay, welcome to Global Politics Africa. Today we're going to focus back on Nigeria. There's a big controversy. We know that in the northern part of Nigeria and in the Middle Belt, there's a lot of instability, and a lot of it is aimed towards Christians through groups like Boko Haram, affiliates of ISIS, and other terrorist groups. And a lot of Nigerian Christians are being killed, and the government is doing nothing about it. Now America don't enter the story now. Ted Cruz says we need to keep an eye on Nigeria because they're killing Christians. This is bad. When America starts saying that you're doing genocide and puts a spotlight on you, it means your country is ready for some actions from America. We don't know what it will be. But in when Ted Cruz came out and said this, Daniel, what's his name? Daniel Boala, who works for the PR for the president, met with Khan, the Christian Association of Nigeria, and he said, no, this is not a terrorist. This is not a genocide of Christians. It's just political instability that has nothing to do with religion. He's saying that he's denying that it's a genocide. He's saying Ted Cruz and the Americans are wrong. Then the Bishop Daniel Oko from Khan, Christian Association of Nigeria, said he doesn't appreciate Boala saying that this is not a genocide, that this is a straight genocide and something needs to be done. So I'm going to take both sides. First of all, it's none of America's business to talk about it. There's a genocide going on of Christians, but I think it's a secondary thing that's caused by outside forces, which are giving Islamic extremists money to kill Christians. The big question is, well, who are the outside forces? People in the Nigerian government are involved, and I'm going to argue that also the U.S. and France are involved. They're doing divide and conquer. They're making sure that money gets into Mozambique, gets into the Sahel, and gets into in Nigeria, so that Christians will be killed, and then they can cry foul and put sanctions or threaten Nigeria. That's the way I see it. How do you see it, Kunle?
Yes, Burkina Faso has already said that they're going to release a list very soon of politicians and influential persons within Nigeria that have been actually sponsoring Boko Haram. And we know that there is a history of even these Western agencies supporting Boko Haram. I'll keep repeating it. French company Lafarge was found to have given them billions of dollars in the early 2000s when they emerged around the time that we started with the first incident where there was this liquid sort of device that was supposed to blow up a plane in Nigeria, and this scourge has reduced West Africa's ability to police itself to such an extent that the French Foreign Legion, because they lost the battle in the Middle East, and these forces were forced to come down south.
Okay, but Kunle, so I agree with you, but we want to focus on the fact that the key thing we want to focus on this show is there a genocide going on in Nigeria of Christians? I'm saying that there's ethnic cleansing, but we need to look at why is it happening? Because we know the Muslims want to do ethnic cleansing, the Muslim terrorist groups. But my argument is that let's is that first question: shall we all agree whether or not it's a genocide? What do you think, Kunle? Do you think there's a genocide of Christians going on, or do you think it's just political?
I'm not disputing the fact that the intention is to wipe out as many Christians as possible, as well as Muslims. But the question of whether there is actually a genocide or not, as of yet, there isn't enough boots on the ground and
Okay,
enough
would you agree
evidence.
that even if there's not a genocide, because we haven't reached the numbers, it's ethnic cleansing? Because all you need for ethnic cleansing is to try to cleanse. Do you think there's attempted ethnic? Do you think they're attempting to do that?
I think that there is intent. The question
Yeah.
as to how successful they have been is now what I want to question. There
So
is
we'll
a
get back to the deeper ones you wanted to say in a second. But what about you, Sai? Do you think that Bishop Oko is correct in saying that Tinubu and Daniel Boala are lying when they're trying to cover up a genocide? Do you think there's a genocide of Muslims in the northern Christians in the northern part of the country and Middle Belt?
Yeah, to me, I believe that there is a genocide going on in the north, as in Christian genocide in the north. So whether the presidency and then Ebola likes it or not, even Reno Omokwe too is going around now trying to whitewash the whole thingy that there is no genocide going on. Even back, like some years back before Tinubu came into power, even Reno Omokwe himself tweeted that there is a genocide of Christians going on in the north. That was before they coming into power. Now that they are in power now, they are now trying to deny it. So that alone already justify that they are trying to do some propaganda on it. So on we that we are on ground, as in
Okay.
the north, the Muslims don't have any tolerance for Christians over there in the north. It is not about being just the genocide part of it alone. It is going on. It's because the media are not carrying it. Of course, majority of the media in Nigeria are being paid by the government. So how do you expect them to really do some investigative journalism and tell the world what is going on in the north? That is where the international media and the Tekuz people came in to say it. It's not as if we in Nigeria we don't know that there is a genocide going on in the north.
Yeah,
Only that
I agree.
I'm not a Christian anymore now.
I agree.
If
So Kule,
I can't go in, like a Christian cannot go in the north now. A Christian cannot go in the north now and say he wants to go and publicize or do something about prophesy his love for Jesus or trying to win souls in the north. They will kill him. I mean, so what are we now saying? So
okay, so
now
I
to
agree.
further buttress my point, to further buttress my point, like okay, let's even leave the normal Muslim people, the Islamic jihadists, the Islamic terrorists that they call themselves Boko Haram. If they when they are going into villages, you can't. Of course, they kill some Muslims, but the majority of the villages they are going.
I think he broke. Are you there, Kule?
Yeah, of course. I got
Glad
5G. I
he
ain't
broke.
going nowhere.
I'm glad he broke because
You
I wanted
understand?
to say. Okay, you broke. So I'm going to switch over now. Site. So it's two things. It's political. It's about land in the north, but in the middle belt, it's about Christianity versus northern. But in both cases, it's about land. So people use religion as an excuse, but it's really about land. So it's complex. Religion is part of it, but it's about land because in both parts, in the northern part of the country, it's not about religion. It's about rebels coming in and wanting to take land and control the farming. In the middle belt, the Christian speaking sectors are fighting the Islamic speaking sectors. But even without the religion, those Islamic people, they want that land. It's not just they hate Christians, they want that land too. So it's complex. What is your thought on that, Kunle? Is this a predominantly
But
religious issue or economic and land?
Fulani is economic in nature. Fulani are nomadic in nature, right? Now, what
Yeah.
they are doing is they are being sponsored and being financed by foreign influences. Now, there's also a project going on to grow GMO foods in at the expense of the traditional ways of farming. And some of these Fulani herdsmen have deliberately destroyed these agricultural lands in order that these lands can be used for GMO growth of different kinds of foods. So it always comes back to the money.
Yeah.
If you keep following the stories of the evils of Christianity and Islam, you get distracted. Or you follow left and right, you get distracted. Follow the money first. Where is this money coming from? And that will give you the answer to all the questions that you have, because it takes a lot of money to have more resources to overwhelm the resources of a government to the point that a government that could cope with the rest of West African security can't even cope with its own internal security against the foreign agent that is being funded by resources beyond its power. And the question has always been, is it the West or is it the Middle East? But we know that the funding is foreign.
We all know that a lot of the money these guys get came from USAID. Finish. Yeah. And the rest of it came from Lafarge in France. So now Trump has shut down USAID, but he's rerouting the money to France. And then Trump will say, "It wasn't me. It wasn't me. It was Macron. It was Macron." You understand what I'm saying? It's now coming from the French.
It's a Zionist game. It's a Zionist game, and
What do
they
you
play
think,
it
Saeed?
all the
I know
time.
Saeed, I know you saying that the U.S. is speaking out against it, but isn't
Yeah,
it funny that the U.S. is speaking out against it, but a lot of the money came from the U.S. aid. What do you think, Saeed?
I quite agree with what both of you guys said. On you saying it's about the land. Yes, the Muslims in the north they want to almost Islamize the whole place and make sure that the whole land belongs to Muslims. That is one. On what Mr. Kunle said about following the money, I think we follow the money. We already know where the money is coming from. Yes, some of it is coming from the west, but majority. I want to believe that majority of the sponsors right now is coming from our politicians in Nigeria. Our senators are funding them. Our governors are funding them. Even there, some weeks or months ago that a list of the no, I think it's doing Buhari film.
Very quickly. Sorry to jump from sorry to jump from. Why are Christian senators and so funding a genocide? What is their motivation for doing it? That's my argument. What is their motivation?
Money.
Money. So it means that they're also doing it for the West. Somebody is telling them to do it. Somebody is telling them. Who's telling them to do it?
Yeah, that's why I said the jihadist terrorists. Jihadist terrorists, Iraq.
Yeah, but where are the
where do they get money from?
Where did the
jihadists get that kind of money from to overwhelm a power like Nigeria? I know that it's a joke compared to America, but when do the jihadists that get the kind of money to overwhelm a country of over 200, 300 million people? Because the Middle East, they don't have that kind of numbers. So where are they getting that amount of power? It can only be one of two places: Russia and China, or America.
Said, what he's saying is that the jihadists are paying the politicians. My question is, Said, who's paying the jihadists? Where do they get US dollars from?
Where is this money coming from? You have to get to the bottom of it. Ignore what people tell you and think for yourself. Don't even listen to me. Think for yourself. Where is this money coming from? Who controls
where's the money coming from?
The movement of money in the world today?
I think the West. I would definitely say from the West. But the West, I can't say that it is the government or the government of the US or the Europeans or something. But I think there are some businessmen that they profit from all this.
Right, I agree with you.
Okay, businessmen. Where is their money coming
businessmen.
from?
So business. Coming from Western.
So here's the thing. Sales and the weapon sales and all when there is sales, people are making money.
Okay, so Said, the money is coming from the West, from Western businesses. Now, I'm going to end with this. We don't have to say it's coming from the U.S. government because I don't believe the U.S. government has power. The U.S. government is like. Said, listen carefully. Donald Trump and the rest of the U.S. politicians work for the same people who are giving money to Boko Haram. It's Western businesses run America, not the U.S. government, not Trump. Western businesses.
Exactly.
So we don't have to blame Trump. Let's blame the Western monetary system. But Trump, they killed Trump's friend, Charlie Clerk, because he spoke out against Israel. They shot Trump in the ear to send a message to him that we can do it to you too. So Trump is not the American leader. What's leading America is American businesses. And where Boko Haram is getting their money is from America. What would you say, Said?
Yeah, I quite agree with what you said, but that is why we are clamoring for a leader that will have the fear of God, and should I say like
a moral leader.
Yeah, moral leader and somebody that will really like his people. Because if all what we are saying now, we already know who is funding them. We can't say we can't stop them.
Yeah,
we have the capacity.
We had a chance. We had Peter Obi, and the Yoruba people said we don't want a good leader. We want Tinubu.
Now, Peter Obi. To me, Peter Obi doesn't have that zeal and the action to go head to head with this current.
You know why they threatened his life? They threatened his life. It's not easy, yo.
Why is he not joking with our feelings? Why, if he knows that he can't go all the way in, why did he even?
Okay, Said, last thing, Said.
Can I just have a quick word about Donald Trump?